I stared at my phone for the third time that morning, scrolling through social media to see another wedding preparation post from my daughter Emma. Crystal chandeliers, white roses cascading down marble pillars. A venue that probably cost more than most people's cars. She looked radiant in her pre-wedding photos, her auburn hair perfectly styled, her smile bright enough to light up the entire ballroom, but something was missing from every single image, every single update, every single excited comment thread. Me? 24 years I'd raised that girl. 24 years of scraped knees and bedtime stories, of working double shifts at the diner to pay for her dance classes, of being both mother and father after her dad walked out when she was 7. 24 years of believing we had something unbreakable between us. I was wrong. The call came on a Tuesday evening in March, 2 months before the wedding. Emma's voice was tight, controlled in that way she'd learned from her future mother-in-law, Margaret Worthington. "Mom, we need to talk." According to YouTube analytics, 99% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, you'll help support the channel and never miss fresh content. My heart clenched immediately. Those 5 words never preceded good news. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" "It's about the wedding." A pause. "James's family. They have certain expectations about the guest list." I set down the stack of bills I'd been sorting, mostly overdue, as usual, and gave her my full attention. "Okay, what kind of expectations?" Another pause, longer this time. "They think it would be better if you didn't attend." The words hit me like a physical blow. I actually gasped, my hand flying to my chest. "What do you mean?" "You don't really fit in with the Worthington crowd, Mom. Your background, your job, it might be awkward for everyone." "My background." My voice came out smaller than I intended. "Emma, I'm your mother." "I know that." Her tone sharpened. "But this is James's day too, and his family is paying for everything. They've been incredibly generous, and the least we can do is respect their wishes." "What about your wishes?" I whispered. Silence stretched between us like a chasm. When she finally spoke, her words shattered what remained of my heart. "This is what I want too, Mom. I'm sorry." The line went dead. I sat in my tiny kitchen for hours after that call, staring at the refrigerator covered with Emma's childhood artwork, her high school graduation photo, acceptance letter to college, all the milestones I'd celebrated with her, all the dreams we'd shared. The girl who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms, who'd made me breakfast in bed every Mother's Day with burned toast and 2 sweet coffee, who'd promised me I'd be the first person she'd call when she got engaged. That promise, like so many others, had been broken. The Worthingtons had money, old money, the kind that came with expectations and prejudices, and the power to reshape reality according to their preference. James was their golden boy, heir to a pharmaceutical fortune, and apparently having a waitress for a mother-in-law didn't align with their image. I'd met Margaret Worthington exactly once at Emma's engagement party 6 months earlier. She'd looked me up and down like I was something unpleasant she'd found on her designer shoe, her smile never reaching her cold blue eyes. "How quaint," she'd said when Emma introduced me as the woman who'd raised her. "A single mother. That must have been challenging." The way she said challenging made it sound like a character flaw, but I'd held my tongue, smiled politely, and focused on Emma's happiness. My daughter was glowing that night, and if this family could give her the life I never could, then I'd swallow my pride. I just never imagined they'd ask me to swallow my entire existence. Over the following weeks, I tried to reach out to Emma. I left voicemails that went unanswered, sent texts that were read but not responded to, and even showed up at her apartment once, only to have James answer the door with an apologetic but firm explanation that Emma was too stressed to see me right then. "She'll come around after the wedding," he said, his privileged voice carrying the confidence of someone who'd never been denied anything. You know how brides get. But I knew my daughter, or thought I did. Emma was strong-willed but not cruel, independent but not heartless. This wasn't just wedding stress. This was something deeper, darker. The Worthingtons had worked their poison slowly, skillfully, convincing her that her past, that I, was something to be ashamed of. The wedding was set for May 15th, a spring afternoon in the Worthington Estates gardens. Emma had always dreamed of an outdoor wedding, ever since she was little, and we'd watch romantic comedies together on our worn couch, sharing a bowl of microwave popcorn because it was all we could afford. But I wouldn't be there to see those dreams come true. Instead, I learned about the wedding the way everyone else did, through social media. Emma had decided to live stream the entire ceremony, turning her special day into a public spectacle for her growing Instagram following. She'd built quite a presence over the past year, showcasing her transformation from small-town girl to high society fiancé. Her followers ate up every detail of the upcoming nuptials, and the live stream was promoted as the event of the season. The irony wasn't lost on me. The daughter who'd excluded her own mother was desperate to include thousands of strangers. On the morning of May 15th, I made a decision that surprised even myself. I wasn't going to hide away in my apartment, mourning what I'd lost. I was going to do something Emma had taught me, back when she was young and fearless and believed in standing up for what was right. I was going to show up, not to the wedding. I respected her wishes, even if they broke my heart. But I was going to watch the live stream, and if the opportunity presented itself, I was going to remind Emma and everyone watching exactly who had been there for her long before the Worthingtons entered the picture. I'd spent the past month organizing my memories. Photo albums, home videos, school reports, letters Emma had written me from college, everything that told the story of our life together, the story the Worthingtons wanted erased. The live stream began at 2 p.m. sharp. I watched on my laptop, propped up on my kitchen table next to a cup of coffee that grew cold as I became absorbed in the spectacle unfolding on my screen. The Worthington estate was everything I'd expected. Manicured lawns stretching toward a lake, white tents adorned with crystals and silk, guests in designer clothes mingling with champagne flutes. The camera panned across faces I didn't recognize, wealthy friends and business associates who belonged to Emma's new world. Then I saw her, and despite everything, my breath caught. She was beautiful beyond words in her flowing white gown, her veil catching the afternoon sunlight like spun gold. For a moment, all my hurt faded, replaced by the pure pride of a mother watching her child's dreams come to life. But as the camera captured her walking down the aisle, I noticed something that made my chest tighten. She kept glancing toward the seated guests, her smile faltering slightly as if she was looking for someone specific, someone who should have been there but wasn't. The ceremony proceeded with all the pomp and circumstance the Worthingtons could orchestrate. The officiants spoke about love and commitment, about families joining together, about the importance of honoring those who had shaped the bride and groom into the people they'd become. Emma's eyes filled with tears during that part, and I found myself crying too, not from joy, but from the devastating recognition that she was thinking of me in that moment, perhaps realizing the magnitude of what she'd chosen. But it was during the reception that karma began to assert itself. The live stream was interactive, allowing viewers to leave comments and reactions in real time. Most of the early messages were congratulations and heart emojis, friends and followers gushing over the fairy tale wedding. But as more people tuned in, the live stream was gaining viewers by the minute, going viral in ways Emma hadn't anticipated. Different types of comments began appearing. Where's Emma's family? Shouldn't her mom be there? This seems kind of cold for a family celebration. I watched Emma's face during the toasts, seeing her discomfort grow as she undoubtedly noticed the same comments I was reading. James's best man spoke about privilege and opportunity, about marrying into greatness. Margaret Worthington gave a speech about welcoming Emma into our family that made it sound like she was being rescued from something unpleasant. But there was no maid of honor speech from Emma's best friend Sarah, who'd been conspicuously absent from all the wedding preparations. No toast from Emma's side of the family because she'd systematically excluded everyone who truly knew her. The comments were becoming more pointed now. Why is no one from the bride's side speaking? This is weird. Where is everyone who actually raised her? Emma Hartley has a mom who worked 3 jobs to put her through college. Why isn't she here? That last comment made me sit up straight. Someone out there knew our story, knew what Emma was pretending never happened, and then I saw him in the chat. David Chen, Emma's high school boyfriend, the boy she dated for 2 years before leaving for college. He was typing rapidly, and his messages were gaining traction. I knew Emma in high school. Her mom, Linda, is the most incredible woman, worked herself to the bone to give Emma every opportunity. She deserves to be here. More people began sharing their own memories. Linda Hartley was my server at Mel's Diner for years. Sweetest woman alive, always talking about her daughter with such pride. I went to school with Emma. Her mom never missed a single game, recital, or parent conference. This is heartbreaking. The comments section was becoming a tribute to me, a tribute Emma couldn't ignore as she watched the live stream feedback on her phone between dances. I could see her face growing paler, her smile becoming more strained, as she realized the narrative was slipping away from her control. But karma wasn't finished yet. At around 8 p.m., during what should have been the highlight of the evening, Margaret Worthington took the microphone for what she announced would be a special surprise. She'd prepared a slideshow, she explained, showcasing James and Emma's journey to this perfect day. The photos began innocently enough. James as a child at various Worthington family events, teenage photos from his private school, college graduation from Harvard. Emma's photos started from their engagement, carefully curated images from the past year that painted her as someone who'd always belonged in this world. But then something went wrong with the slideshow. Instead of the next Worthington family portrait, a different image flashed on the screens positioned throughout the reception area. It was Emma at age 7, gap-toothed and grinning, holding a homemade World's Best Mom card she'd made me for Mother's Day. I recognized the photo immediately. I'd kept it on my nightstand for years. Margaret frantically clicked her remote, but instead of advancing to the next planned slide, another photo appeared. Emma and me at her 8th grade graduation, both of us beaming despite my work uniform and tired eyes. Then another. Emma hugging me after her acceptance to college, tears of joy streaming down both our faces. The technical malfunction continued, each accidental image telling the story Emma had tried to erase. Photos of birthday parties in our tiny apartment, Christmas mornings with modest presents under a dollar store tree, Emma's first day of high school, with me sending her off with packed lunches, and encouragement. The wedding guests fell silent, unsure how to react to this unexpected glimpse into Emma's real history. But the live stream comments exploded. "That's Linda! I recognize her from the diner! Oh my god, Emma is pretending her mom doesn't exist! This is disgusting! Look how much that woman loved her daughter! Emma should be ashamed of herself." I realized what was happening and felt a chill run down my spine. Someone had hacked the slideshow. Someone who had access to photos I'd shared on my own sparse social media accounts over the years. Someone who thought Emma needed to be reminded of where she came from. David Chen's comments confirmed my suspicions. Sometimes people need to see the truth. Linda Hartley deserves better than this. Emma was staring at the screens in horror, her face cycling through emotions. Recognition, shame, panic, and something that looked like grief. The photos kept coming, a relentless parade of memories that painted a picture of devotion, sacrifice, and unconditional love. James was trying to calm her down, his hand on her shoulder. But she was trembling now, the weight of her choices finally hitting her, as hundreds of thousands of people watched her reaction in real time. The final photo was the one that broke her completely. It was from just 3 months earlier, taken through the window of Mel's diner, by someone who'd known us both. I was visible in the background, wiping down tables during a busy shift, while Emma sat in a booth with James, both of them laughing over some private joke. The image captured a moment in time when we'd still been in each other's orbit, before she'd chosen to cut me out entirely. But what made the photo devastating was the caption someone had added: "Linda working to pay for Emma's engagement party, while Emma celebrated without inviting her." Emma let out a sound somewhere between a sob and a wail, her composure finally cracking completely. She pushed away from James and ran toward the house, her wedding dress trailing behind her like a white flag of surrender. The live stream was chaos now. The comments were coming too fast to read, a mixture of outrage, support, and disbelief. Margaret Worthington was frantically trying to end the technical difficulties, while James chased after his new wife, leaving their guests bewildered and the online audience more invested than ever. But the live stream didn't end. The camera, apparently set to automatic mode, kept rolling, capturing everything that unfolded next. I watched through my tears as Emma reappeared 20 minutes later, her makeup smeared, her hair disheveled. Clutching her phone with shaking hands, she walked directly to where the main camera was positioned and looked straight into the lens, straight at me somehow, though I was miles away in my little kitchen. "Mom," she said, her voice breaking, "I know you're watching. I know you're out there." And I know I've been the worst daughter in the world. The reception had gone completely quiet. Even the online comments seemed to pause, as if everyone was holding their breath. I let them convince me I was ashamed of you, Emma continued, tears streaming down her face. I let them make me believe that your love wasn't enough, that the life you gave me wasn't good enough. But seeing those pictures, remembering everything you sacrificed, she broke down completely then, sinking to her knees in her designer dress, surrounded by flowers that cost more than I made in a month. Finally understanding the magnitude of her betrayal. You worked 3 jobs to send me to college, she sobbed. You never missed a single important moment in my life until I stopped inviting you to them. You loved me when no one else did, and I threw it all away because I wanted to fit in with people who will never love me the way you do. James appeared beside her, trying to help her up, but she pulled away from him. Don't you dare, she said with a strength I recognized, the same fierce determination she'd inherited from me. Don't you dare try to comfort me when your family made me choose between them and my mom, and I was stupid enough to choose them. She looked back at the camera, directly into my eyes again. Mom, I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I'm begging for it anyway. I don't care if the Worthingtons never speak to me again. I don't care if James divorces me tomorrow. I care about the woman who raised me, who loved me, who believed in me even when I didn't believe in myself. She stood up, her dress dirty now, her fairy tale wedding completely derailed. I'm coming home, Mom, right now. In this dress, in this mess, I'm coming home to apologize and to ask if there's any way you can ever forgive me for being so incredibly, unforgivably stupid. The live stream finally cut off then, but not before capturing Margaret Worthington's face in the background, a mask of fury and disbelief that her perfect wedding had been destroyed by the very woman she tried so hard to erase. I sat in my kitchen, sobbing and laughing at the same time, my heart breaking and healing simultaneously. Karma hadn't just struck, it had delivered justice with precision, using Emma's own medium of choice to expose the truth she'd tried to hide. My phone rang 30 minutes later, Emma's number. Mom? Her voice was small, uncertain, nothing like the confident woman who'd banned me from her wedding. I'm here, sweetheart, I said, the words coming easily despite everything. Can I come home? You never left, baby girl. You just forgot the way for a little while. She arrived 2 hours later, still in her wedding dress, her hair falling out of its elaborate style, her makeup long gone. She looked exactly like the little girl who used to run to me when the world hurt too much to bear alone. I opened my arms, and she fell into them the way she had 1,000 times before, and I held her while she cried for everything she'd almost lost forever. The aftermath was swift and brutal for everyone except us. The wedding live stream had been viewed over 2 million times within 24 hours, becoming a viral sensation that spawned countless reaction videos, articles, and think pieces about family loyalty, social climbing, and the true meaning of love. Margaret Worthington's reputation in her social circles never recovered from the public humiliation of her orchestrated exclusion being exposed so dramatically. James, to his credit, stood by Emma's decision to reconcile with me, though their marriage faced immediate strain as Emma began to question everything about the life she'd thought she wanted. The Worthington family ultimately cut them off financially, unable to accept that Emma had chosen her embarrassing past over their pristine future. But Emma didn't seem to care. She moved back home while she and James figured out who they really were without his family's money and influence. I forgot who I was, she told me one evening, as we sat on the same worn couch where we'd watched those romantic comedies years earlier. I thought if I could just become someone else, someone better, I'd finally be good enough. But I was already good enough. You made me good enough. She started working again, not because she had to, but because she wanted to remember the value of honest work. She took a job at a local nonprofit, helping other young women from backgrounds like ours navigate college and career challenges. It wasn't glamorous, but it was meaningful in ways her previous life had never been. James surprised everyone, including Emma, by thriving once freed from his family's expectations. He took a position at a small pharmaceutical company focused on developing affordable medications for underserved communities, work his trust fund had never allowed him to pursue. Their marriage survived, stronger for having been tested so severely, but more importantly, Emma and I found our way back to each other. Our bond deeper now for having nearly lost it entirely. 6 months later, Emma called me with news that made my heart soar in ways no wedding invitation ever could. "Mom," she said, her voice bright with excitement, "James and I are renewing our vows, a real wedding this time, with the people who actually matter. And I want you to walk me down the aisle." "Are you sure?" I asked, though I was already crying happy tears. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life," she said. "You're the one who gave me everything I needed to become who I'm supposed to be. It's time everyone knew that." The renewal ceremony was everything her first wedding wasn't. Small, intimate, genuine. 20 people who actually knew and loved us, gathered in the community center where Emma had performed in school plays. I wore my best dress, the same one I'd planned to wear to her original wedding. And when she took my arm to walk down the makeshift aisle, I felt like the richest woman in the world. There was no live stream. This time, no social media documentation, no need to prove anything to anyone. Just a mother and daughter who'd found their way back to each other, surrounded by people who understood that love isn't about what you can provide materially, but about what you're willing to sacrifice emotionally. During her vows, Emma looked directly at me and said, "I used to think love meant having everything you wanted. Now I know it means appreciating everything you have, and never forgetting the people who helped you get it." As I watched her dance with James afterward, both of them laughing with genuine joy rather than performative happiness, I realized that karma hadn't just punished Emma's betrayal, it had ultimately saved her from a life that would never have made her truly happy. Sometimes the greatest gift isn't getting what you think you want. Sometimes it's having what you really need revealed to you in the most unexpected way, by the most unlikely messenger. Sometimes karma doesn't just balance the scales. It opens your eyes to see what was always there, waiting patiently for you to come home. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, coming home is exactly where you find your happily ever after.